So Mean walks in here. He just taped Oddball. Follow Oddball. Go to his YouTube channel. Do all that stuff. He hosts with Charlotte Wilder. It's excellent. Amin's here drinking his. What are you drinking?
Water. We don't have any cups.
Oh,
you're not sipping on the tea, huh?
Preciously.
It's good. It's good. Good water. Yeah, Jaylen Brown, oddball. What do you want to talk about?
No, you walk in and you're saying Immaculate Grid. Finally, this has been the thing. We were like, we just established that. We can't talk more Immaculate Grid. We cannot.
I'd love to.
I know you would, but we can't. So I want to ask you an actual basketball question.
Okay.
Because the Jaylen Brown contract is like, there's not a lot of sports in terms of mainstream American attention that is happening right now.
Sorry, baseball.
But the guy that we're talking about,
WNBA.
Jaylen Brown, mainstream American attention, I said it pejoratively. But in terms of the big three, big story.
This guy hates America.
It's contracts. We're in contract time.
Did you say big three?
I did not.
Yeah,
Not like that.
You did. You
He
definitely
did.
did.
Said big three. I heard.
Do you have news on me in the contract, big three, or no?
I have news on Jaylen Brown's contract.
I did see Ice Cube with Tucker the other day.
Ice Cube, my boy.
I would walk that one back now.
The biggest NBA story right now, the
you
biggest
meant Tucker
big
Carlson.
money story right now in the quote-unquote, scare quotes, big three American sports, quote-unquote, mainstream American sports, is the fact that a dude who cannot dribble with his left hand just signed the largest contract, in the history of the NBA.
Get a new angle. That was Ben Shapiro's.
I hate that you're right about that.
At least got that line off before he tweeted it, but man, did I feel bad. It's the first time we've seen the world the same way. That and Barbie.
What's the question?
What are we supposed to do with this, Amin? Like, you're a smart basketball person who sees things, and I am of various instincts here, right? I want to make fun of Jaylen Brown because he cannot dribble with his left hand. We saw that repeatedly in the postseason. I also want to talk about how, yes, it's unsurprising when the new guy signs the biggest contract ever because that's the trend line of contracts.
Color by numbers. It's paint by numbers. I explain this every time someone signs one of these deals. I have to explain it when Rudy Gobert signed his deal, which was the biggest ever. I have to explain it when Mike Conley signed his deal, which was the biggest ever, because it's all paint by numbers. The maximum salary in the NBA, by the way, the only of the professional sports that has a maximum salary in baseball and football and hockey, if Pablo Torre is the greatest player I've ever seen and he comes up on free agency, I can offer him whatever I want as long as I fit under the salary cap in two of those sports. But the actual individual number you make, if I wanted to use 100% of my salary cap in the NFL to pay one guy, I could. It would be an awful way to build a team, but I can do that if I value you as such. Basketball is the only one where it's like, no, you can't make more than this. And what this is expressed as a percentage of the salary cap. So 35% is the highest bracket of max you can make of the cap. But the cap, as you said, keeps going up because the cap is based on basketball-related income, which is based on the TV deals, the ticket sales, the merch sales, hot dogs, parking, all that stuff, right? So as long as the cap is higher than it's ever been, the first guy who signs the top max level will always have the biggest contract ever. It doesn't matter whether he's worth it or not. If we didn't have max salaries and we paid people what they were worth, the reality is Jason Tatum would probably be making 60 or 70 million. And so the Celtics would be like, I don't know if I can afford to pay Jaylen Brown because I'm already dumping 70 mil in this guy over here. LeBron might make 80. Steph might make 90.
Sure.
Giannis might make $100 million a year. Like the numbers that we're seeing overseas for soccer players, we see that here. The converse of that is Gabe Vincent wouldn't be making $11 million. And Bruce Brown wouldn't make $20+ million.
The other economic strata of the union, they benefit from the max contract.
We did a video about this. Me and you, remember this? Oh,
yes.
man, I literally just thought about it right now.
I just remembered that
so,
just now.
Years ago, Pablo did a feature on Mike Ryan's favorite point guard. What was his name?
Tyler Johnson.
Tyler Johnson, right?
Who famously vomited upon signing his giant deal thanks to the new CBA negotiation.
You're not going to trot out that old tired observation that I've apologized a million times.
I'm not. I'm just. This is actually about Pablo and this amazing.
Because it seemed like you were getting there by
I was just
referencing that he's my favorite.
It was like a drive-by stray. I just and then kept going. Right.
He was one of the first hey, what a great find by the Miami Heat, and there's no way they're overpaying because they can't replicate this.
Actually, not one of the first. One of the first would be like Ike Austin and Vashawn Leonard.
Yeah.
And
well,
those
of the
guys.
modern era.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but anyway, Tyler Johnson signs this deal, this restricted free agent deal with Brooklyn for 4 years, $50 million.
To the point where when I go to his house, I went to his apartment in Miami on South Beach. We played FIFA. I beat him at FIFA. Side note.
Look at me, Louis.
He has, in his house, he has Brooklyn Nets baby clothes that had been sent to him because he had signed the deal and assumed, of course, big money from Brooklyn, he's going to have to go there.
Yeah. And the Heat, I believe, ended up matching, and so he doesn't go. But Pablo writes about, like he said, like the kid was physically ill because he could not believe that someone would pay him this much money.
Tyler Johnson had an out-of-body experience that resulted in his stomach being outside of his body.
So what ends up happening is, I think in your piece, you explain how this can only happen in a salary cap sport where also individual salaries are capped. And because you have to spend this much money, and because I can't spend more than the max on this guy, there's all this leftover money that trickles down to the middle class. And that's how Tyler Johnson gets $50 million.
Well, this is the story, too. I mean, about a salary cap, certainly, but what a union actually is trying to do. When we talk about running backs, right, let's connect all of these stories we've been talking about all week. When you talk about running back pay, the solution tends to be, well, they're going to form a union inside of the union.
Right.
And it's like, good luck. That's kind of how the union is right now. There are all these disparate economic strata, these classes, these positional groups that have their own interests. The Tyler Johnsons benefit from LeBron James not making 9 figures.
Right.
And so it's just all of these guys have incentives. Good luck wrangling all of these incentives into one coherent agenda.
Now, my favorite part about this story was we did a video to accompany. This is back when we were big on videos.
I'm now remembering what about this video.
And so the story of Tyler Johnson, single mom, like in the military, and he had to work in
Air Force Base from California.
He had to work in high school in the cafeteria, like with all these rich snobby kids. They were his classmates and all that stuff. And he kept getting hurt and all this stuff. So we did a video of Tyler Johnson, animated dribbling a basketball up a mountain, and like all of these different kind of.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, all these things. And as he gets higher, an arm falls off, a leg falls off, but he keeps dribbling, and then takes off to dunk. And when he dunks on a basket that's made out of money, and that's a max contract. But then as we zoom out, we find out that like the mountain he was climbing was LeBron's back in order to get to that money.
Such a good video.
Oh my God! And they made us take it down.
Yeah, we never got to publish it.
We published it. They took it down like.
Oh, that's right.
They took it down like 20 minutes later because it was like, it makes it look like Tyler Johnson is riding LeBron, and
and their chains and money, and it felt weirdly racial. I'm like, no. Me and Amin were like, this is a trenchant artistic interpretation of the dynamics of an NBA Players Association.
I'll post that video later today.
It's so good.
Yeah, man. That's one of my favorite things I've ever worked on.
Same. And I forgot about it until now. Thank you for reminding me.